welcome to Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I'm your collect all of the hidden orbs host, Madelyn.
I'm your play this game for 2 weeks straight host, Emma.
And thanks for tuning into the show. It's a side quest this week, and it's Emma's turn to pick what we're going to be discussing on the show. So, Emma, what game's topic is on the docket this time?
This week we're talking about achievements and achievement hunters, and why those exist and why people like them.
And why we don't like them, probably.
Yeah.
Was this inspired? I feel like I've said on a recent episode of the podcast that trophies are toxic. Was this inspired by that moment?
I feel like we've talked about trophies and achievements at like various times throughout the show. Like when we were talking about replaying games too, we were saying like, oh, someone might come back to a game to platinum it, or, you know, because it's their game for the year or whatever. So I guess I'd been thinking about it, but it wasn't inspired by anything like specific, I'd say, as usual for me.
Take away my credit, it's fine. So I have to start by sharing my number of trophies because I broke my PS4 getting this number for you all. So here we go. I double checked and I confirmed that I have 985 trophies. I have no platinums, which I think is probably, I feel like that's a good thing. I think that's a positive thing for me. 51 golds, 150 silver, and 784 bronze. However, I will point out that I have only had my own PlayStation login since I bought the PS4 for Black Friday in 2019. No, 2018.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that I'm a worse gamer when Emma lists her numbers.
I specifically put this in the notes. I was like, some of this could be Madelyn on the PS3.
All of my Persona trophies. I mean, our Persona trophies must be doubled, right? Except I've got the one that's like, dope name, and you don't. They're like, and, trophy for naming your kid Champ.
Yeah,
nice.
the very secret trophy of Persona. That's what everybody's missing. Well, I have 1,551 trophies. I have 63 gold, 172 silver, 15 bronze, and 1 platinum, which, if you're curious, is Tales from the Borderlands, which you get by playing the game.
Oh, so then I have that. I just played that as you.
Yeah. Like, I was like, this could be either me or Madelyn, probably, because there's no special trophy. They're all just trophies like completed Chapter 1 of Episode 1, completed Chapter 2 of Episode 1.
Or Click Good Boyfriend.
And so on and so
Click
forth.
Good Boyfriend also played Tales from the Borderlands. So
I guess it was all of us.
3 platinums. I'll mention that too, that of course my trophy count is a little bit inflated by the fact that Click Good Boyfriend and I do not have separate PlayStation profiles. I don't really understand how that works. In my head, him having a separate profile would mean that he would have to buy a PlayStation Plus membership, which feels stupid to me.
I don't know either.
I'm sure that's I'm just spreading false rumors about the new PlayStation Plus here.
Right.
For SEO.
Game Pass is making a family plan.
Well, maybe after the scare with my PS4, maybe I will get an Xbox. No. Someone's been talking about playing Horizon Forbidden West. I can't get an Xbox. So anyway, trophies feel like something now, they're so ingrained in gaming culture that it's weird to think about them as only being less than 15 years or about 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But they are. They're only 3 generations old, not even 3 full generations on console.
No, I think they were there from the beginning of the 360.
You're right. I'm sorry. PlayStation supremacy over here. You're absolutely right. They're only as new as the Xbox 360.
Oh, right. And the trophies thing is also from our PlayStation account, hence the trophies. I didn't look into how many achievements I have on Steam or anything.
Did you look into your Xbox achievements? Have you used your Xbox?
I have not yet, no.
How did you buy an Xbox and you literally haven't used it?
Well, I'm finishing the 2 games I'm playing, and then I'm going to get Game Pass for 2 months. That's my current plan.
That's so responsible. Don't be dumb. Don't be responsible. Emma, come on.
But yeah, the idea of like digital achievements as we think of them now was started by Microsoft with the Xbox 360. I think they're just called achievements on Xbox.
It was originally stuff as part of the gamer score, but yeah, they're just achievements on Xbox.
And then I think the next year they brought it to their like PC launcher, and Steam also added achievements. And then like the year after that, PlayStation started trophies. The 360 PS3 generation was definitely Xbox driven. So
yeah. So you can blame Xbox.
Yeah.
For everything about trophies.
Yeah.
Emma, when did Nintendo start doing it?
Never. One of those, it makes so much sense, right? Nintendo just does not pay attention to anything anyone else does, is kind of my theory, right? They're just there in Nintendo land doing what they think is best. And they don't really care about achievements. Games sometimes will have, especially if they're multi-console, they'll have an in-game version of achievements for you. But there is no, like, built into the system achievements for Nintendo.
Maybe when the Switch Pro comes out.
I really don't think they will ever add them.
I was just joking, don't worry.
I just think they are deeply uninterested in everything to do with the internet. And I think that really is the Nintendo ethos.
That makes sense. So, Emma, what is an achievement? Can you define an achievement?
I don't know. How would you define an achievement?
I was throwing it to you because I don't have a good definition. It's a little pop-up. It's a little pop-up that appears on your screen when you do something in a game. It might say, beep boop, you caught 20 Pokemon. Or beep boop, Mario and Luigi made it to the castle. Or
no, it wouldn't say that actually, because that's a Nintendo game.
They were both Nintendo games, and that was on purpose. Don't worry. Or it might say, beep boop, Kirby ate something. And then you get a little badge on your online profile that says, ate 20 things as Kirby. And you get to feel proud of that.
On PlayStation, at least, it also automatically takes a screenshot whenever you get a trophy until you turn it off, which I've never bothered to do. So sometimes I go in my screenshot folder, and there are very bad screenshots. Like, you wanted the loading screen after you did this? Here you go.
The memories. So I think, obviously around trophies, sorry, I should continue to define. So at least on PlayStation, but I'm sure that this is the case on Xbox as well. There are sort of different tiers of achievement, of trophy. On PlayStation, that's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. But regardless of whether you call it that, to platinum a game is to get all of the achievements.
Yes.
And that's where I really think it's the platinum trophy that needs to be eliminated, to be honest.
I mean, I don't think that does anything. You literally automatically get the platinum trophy once you get all the other trophies. So I don't really know what that would do for anything, to be completely honest.
I know. I guess I just feel like there's something about the quest for platinum that ruins what could otherwise be an interesting system. And I realize that just getting rid of platinum doesn't fix that, because people will still pursue the same goal. But something about that, like, total completionist element of achievements often starts to feel like less interesting and fun than what I think some of the rest of it could be or can be.
Well, it's sort of an interesting thing because trophies and achievements on all platforms that have them are mandatory for you to submit your game for sale on those storefronts. So Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, you have to have achievements or trophies built in. Otherwise, it's not done, right? It's not fit for sale on those. But beyond the fact that you have to have them, there is no other really, I mean, they can't be, like, inappropriate in the same way that they do all other content guidelines. Right. But there's no other guidelines for, like, what these trophies should be or, you know, how you should use them or anything like that. So you get a wide variety of games with a wide variety of trophies types. Between stuff like Tales from the Borderlands, that's just like, well, you played the game, good job. We're crunching, we're not worrying about our trophies right now.
The game barely runs by the time you get to the 5th chapter. You made it through.
To stuff like open world games that often have trophies that are like, found every fish, you know? I have gotten that trophy before in some of the Cold Steel games, which says something about me.
Completed Mahjong.
I was actually reviewing the Yakuza 7 trophy list, and there's not anything for Mahjong.
That's the best, probably.
I was surprised. I think I had like 65% of the Yakuza 7 trophies somehow, which was surprising to me. It was like all of them except for the dumb collecting ones, right. Basically.
Makes sense.
And so, because there's no, like, standards, sometimes you'll get trophies that are interesting to get, like encouraging you to take specific actions, or try a mission a different way, or do a variety of play styles. And sometimes you get stuff that just like, have you found all the little knickknacks on the ground? So in that way, I don't really think even that it's the platinum hunting that becomes sort of like this weird grind that people get on, and more that there are trophies out there that are just not interesting to get because developers aren't encouraged necessarily to be creative with their trophies.
But see, I think that is maybe what I'm getting at here, in that there's no big deal out of having a find every fish trophy. To be honest, if I find every fish, I better get a freaking trophy. Right? I found every fish. So I don't see there being a problem with these kind of grindy ones, because look, if you love the fishing mechanic, or you love bowling, or you love talking to the same NPC over and over again until you hear all of their dialogue or whatever it is, right? Like, fine, yeah. The achievement is cool. If the whole point of the achievement is to be like, here's a little badge about how I played the game and something that's kind of unique about the way I played the game, finding all the fish is definitely that. I think it's when it comes into contact with platinum hunting, just the fact that platinum hunting exists, I guess, is what makes those things feel frustrating. Because if there was no pressure to have finished everything to 100% the game or whatever, then it wouldn't matter that you didn't find all the fish. And frankly, for most of the people, it just doesn't matter. I don't know why this fish example has become the example, but here we are. It wouldn't matter if you hadn't found all the fish. On this show. Yeah. Go back and listen to the fishing game side quest. It's a good one. Probably the bane of all platinum hunters. But just the fact that there's that specter of you should be 100%ing, like the valor of that is what makes those grindy ones grindy, right? Otherwise it's like, oh, this isn't fun. I won't get that trophy.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know exactly what the prompt was to that. I guess
I don't really know what the point was. These trophies aren't grindy if you don't try for them. Is that your point?
No. My point was, who cares if there were some grindy trophies? The only reason that would be a frustrating thing is if platinum hunting is something that is, like, important to you.
I guess, but at that point, that's that's who you're making these trophies for, right? People who want the trophies.
I mean, I guess so. And that is probably where some of this mental disconnect comes in for me, because I just don't, and this will come as a surprise maybe to listeners who have heard me talk about how I play some games and my to-do list mentality, but I really don't care about PlayStation trophies, and I'm sure I wouldn't care about Xbox achievements if I had them. It's kind of fun when it pops up. I go, oh, a trophy. And that's about it. And I think that's because I do not, well, partially anyway, because I do not have, like, I don't care about my PSN profile at all.
Mm-hmm.
You are my only PlayStation Network friend.
Mm-hmm.
Even if, like, I'm sure I know some people who are on PlayStation, and, like, I could add if I wanted to out myself as someone who cared about that, right? But, like, I'm never looking at, like, I'll look, when you appear online on PlayStation, I'll look and be like, what's Emma playing? But I never do any more looking at your profile than that. I certainly never look at your trophies. And I just can't imagine, like, even though I will do some trophy hunting behavior in games, because in the game, I have the satisfaction of wanting to check that off the list, the trophy does not factor in that for me at all. And it's hard for me to make myself understand why it would.
I mean, and that's why I'm saying that the sort of, if trophies are going to be required, then there should be encouragement not to just make these lazy grind-a-thon trophies, because that's what everybody does, right? In reading about it, like, listening to people who trophy hunt and developers, like, making trophies, like, the more interesting ones to get are the ones that, like, sort of point you in a direction, right? Like, they're like, oh, there's some sort of mysterious Easter egg that maybe I can trigger somehow. Or if I try a different character class in this mission, I can, see how that is. So in some ways, the fact, like, the trophy list itself gives you suggestions for how to be playing the game, and things that maybe the developers are proud of that they don't want you to miss, right?
Yeah, and I think that's cool.
But that's not how most developers approach curating their achievement list. Because they just don't. Which, I get it, right? The fact that they are mandatory makes it so it's just like a thing you have to check off before you send it off to submission most of the time.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if somehow more developers could put more thought into those things, if they have to be there,
Yeah. I get that for sure. I guess my thing is, put those things in the game. Like, there was the thing, I thought the Red Dead one where you have to tie someone up and throw them on the railroad tracks. I was like, that's funny, right? Like, that's a funny thing. Like, that's a funny achievement. It's a funny thing to incentivize players to do. I don't want to have to look at the trophy list for that to be like a, hey, you should do this kind of thing. I guess for me, because I care so little about my appearance to the PlayStation community, that it's like, okay. Like, it doesn't bother me that Nintendo doesn't have achievements, because if they put similar lists of things to do in their game, I'm more likely to see that than I am to go through the trophy list and be like, this ultra rare trophy where I make Mario jump on Peach's head to kick Luigi in the balls, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, that just has to do with infrastructure, though.
Yeah.
Like, you say just put that in the game, but that's a extra work on top of needing to make the trophy list, because that is mandatory.
I mean, I'm railing against the mandatory trophies maybe a little bit, but I also think that the trophy list, at least on PlayStation, is boring AF.
Isn't that the point I was just making, and that's why trophies should be better?
Yeah. I don't mean like what the tasks are. I just mean like the graphic interface of it.
Okay.
Maybe you were saying that as well, and I apologize if I misunderstood you.
No, I wasn't saying that. I don't find any, that very rare menu that I find interesting in general, but sure.
Sorry, I don't mean that. I just mean, like, I would like some more graphic interest or, like, some ability to highlight the fun trophies or that kind of thing. Usually when I look at trophy lists, sometimes it's helpful with ideas, but it's a lot of hidden trophies, and it's a lot of just, like, complete chapter 3, complete chapter 4. So all this to come back around to say Emma is right. More interesting trophies should be made. They shouldn't allow you to just have a complete chapter 5 trophy.
I mean, I hesitate towards, like, shouldn't allow you to do this,
I'm just
too.
kidding,
especially if it's mandatory, because that's just putting more work on developers for an extraneous feature. I wish there was more time to work with interesting game systems, right?
No.
If the achievements are already going to be a metagame, make them a metagame, right?
Yeah. I do think achievements are interesting, and I don't know if developers sort of intentionally use them this way, or if it's just the thing that I often find the most interesting about them. More interesting to me sometimes than, like, the achievement itself, especially if it's the mostly, like, pretty boring ones, right? Like, sometimes you'll find one and it's like, oh, that's cool. I put the flower on the golden dirt. I don't know, whatever. I can't.
You don't need to come up with you've come up with like 10 new achievements already, Madelyn. You've done enough for the day.
I'm trying to generate content. But what's more interesting to me sometimes than the actual content of the list is the percentage of players who have finished each thing. And that is interesting to me for the boring trophies. And that is, like, the only purpose that I find them, like, not the boring, like, grindy boring, but the boring, like, you made it to the new world trophies. Like, it's fascinating to watch that only, like, 60% of players get past level 1 or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, developers have their own analytics a lot of the time, but from someone who's looking at stuff from the outside, being able to see how many players actually complete a game is definitely really interesting. Or if you're making a game and you're like, okay, how many people in this genre, what's the completion rate for the average player? That can also be something that you do research into. So in that way, by making those sorts of stats available to everybody, it is interesting.
It's also, on the other side of things, even for percentages that seem very, very small in some of these achievements, I'm baffled by how common it is, right? Platinum trophies typically have seemingly a completion rate of, like 1% to 2% of players, which is a small percentage, but when you think about, it's just baffling to me that 2% of players are platinuming games, for example. That seems incredibly high to me, given what we know about kind of average gamers, perhaps. But I don't know. Sometimes that's just my reaction to stuff. It's like, rarely do I see trophies where it's lower than like 1% of players have the trophy. And sometimes that's like, man, you found 1% of players found every fish. That feels like a lot of people.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like a lot of people to me, to be perfectly honest.
I guess I just mean, I think of the average gamer, and maybe this is wrong, right? Maybe I'm more willing to, like, move on from games than other people, but I think of the average gamer as being less involved in games than I am, perhaps. Like, when you think about only 60% of players get through, I mean, like, these are all made up stats, right? But, like, if you're imagining that only 3/4 of players or whatever are getting past the first chapter of a game, it's then incredibly amazing to me that, like, 2% of them are doing literally everything the game has to offer. But maybe that's dumb. Maybe that's a dumb perspective to have.
I mean, I think that there is, and we talk about this in several topics, but I think there's a larger percentage of people who play games that play like 2 games a year, and maybe like a live service title on top of that. And because they play 2 games a year, they play a lot of those games, and maybe they accidentally platinum it, even if they're not, like, a dedicated trophy hunter, I think there are also certain games that have a larger community, like people who make those types of games, like, their brand or whatever. Sure. Like, Yakuza is a good example. I feel like there is, like, outside of, like, trophy hunting in general, there's, like, a subset community of, like, Yakuza people who just play Yakuza games to, like, 100%,
Well, but Yakuza games have in addition to trophies, I think have an even more robust set of kind of tracking what you've completed in the menus of the game. So it's definitely set up for that. And you're right that there are definitely certain game communities. I guess it just surprises me that that's you know what I mean? Like 2% still feels like a huge amount to commit to that much playing to me. I know I'm realizing that I just sound stupid, but it's like, that's a lot of people. That's thousands of people.
I guess.
I don't know. It's just like, I guess in my head, people who are playing the same game over and over are mostly playing, like, Fortnite over and over. You know what I mean?
Well, those also have platinums, so...
Do they really? Can you platinum Fortnite? Does that change? Can they revoke your platinum if they add new achievements?
I don't know. I think they might have to add, like, another one.
Super platinum.
Yeah.
What's above platinum in, like, the ranking of medals?
I don't know. I also know that, like, if you get DLC for something, that will have a separate trophy list.
Right.
But it will be underneath that game. So, like, I was, like, scrolling through mine, and my Kingdom Hearts 3 trophies. I have my Kingdom Hearts 3 trophy list, and I have my Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind trophy list. But they're both filed under Kingdom Hearts 3.
Right.
Just in, like, a sub-menu, basically. So, I don't really know how Fortnite handles it, but theoretically they could have sub-menus of new content or something like that, but...
I hope they take away platinums. They subtract trophies.
One of the ones for Fall Guys is you have to win 5 matches in a row.
They've wussified that, though.
Oh, really?
They've made it now, because you can play on teams. Like real
oh, no, that
teams
was
now.
always like that. That wasn't wussified. Just...
Oh, okay, never mind. I mean, it's your team has to do 5 in a row instead of literally you. Well, apparently at the beginning it was literally just you.
I thought it's just, like, written like that, but it works with your team also.
Oh, okay. Maybe the article I was reading misunderstood, but...
Well, maybe I misunderstood. That
Whatever.
was just my impression of it.
Anyway, really hard. I don't think did I ever win a Fall Guys? I don't think I won ever.
I did.
I know you did. You wrote a whole blog on it. We interviewed you. Why did we as a culture decide that platinum is more valuable than gold?
Isn't it?
Is it?
Isn't it?
Let's find out. It doesn't seem like it could be right. Platinum more valuable than gold. It is.
Yeah.
What? I thought gold was like gold. Why are there no platinum medals at the Olympics?
Because it's expensive, probably.
Apparently. Wow, apparently platinum is 30 times more rare than gold, according to platinumjewelry.com.
Yeah.
I just sort of assumed... this whole episode is just like Madelyn's an idiot. Well, let's find out. Let's see. What's more valuable than platinum? Palladium.
That word's too big for gamers. I think.
Rhodium?
It's too close to platinum, too. Radium. That doesn't sound good.
Rhodium.
Oh, rhodium. I don't want a radium trophy.
Why not? The
I don't know.
silver. I was going to say iridium, but iridium is actually less valuable than gold. Palladium is used in cars.
Isn't it Pokemon Gold, Silver, and then Pokemon Platinum?
Crystal.
Oh. I was like, is that how I know that Platinum is more valuable than Gold?
Is there I'm not sure Pokemon Platinum is real.
It sounds like it's real.
Oh, no, it is real. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. It's with Diamond and Pearl.
Oh, okay. That's still scaling up, though, right?
Yes. Well, look for Palladium trophies rolling out. I think you should get a Palladium trophy if you... I read an article on someone who has every single Final Fantasy trophy, and I think that guy should get a Palladium trophy. Or, like, surely there are people that have every Yakuza series trophy. They should get...
Like every single Final Fantasy trophy, or just mainline entries?
Let's see. Okay, so Talon Kirk, also known as Reborn 07, unlocked his first trophy in Final Fantasy XIII in November 2010, and in August got the last trophy in Intergrade. Let's see. This includes the remaster of Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VII Remake, remastered Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, all of the Final Fantasy VII 14 trophies.
Jeez.
Which apparently is crazy. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT.
So it seems like the spin-offs too.
Once for the free version, once for the full retail version. Yeah.
Well, there's still work for him to do, because there's more Final Fantasy XIV. They've been releasing all the Pixel remasters on Steam. Stranger in Paradise trophies.
Look, I'm not saying he's still up to date. I'm just saying the guy should get a Palladium.
Okay. Yeah.
And they can revoke it, right? As new trophies appear, they can take the trophy away.
That'd be interesting if you couldn't keep it. I feel like that would encourage even more toxic behavior, but it would be interesting.
I've given up. Bring on the toxicity. Pour it on. Pour on the radium. These trophy hunters are wild, though. I already don't understand the drive for platinum in sort of a normal way, but when you read about the people that are, like, really motivated, it's kind of scary.
Well, it's not... I was thinking about it, and it's like, well, I don't get this, right? From my perspective. But I also don't get speedrunners or people who play games on dance pads or all those sorts of things. And it does feel like trophy hunting is just like a subset of that same impulse that makes people do that, you know? I mean, it's slightly different, right? Because speedrunning and dance pad playthroughs and blindfolded playthroughs or whatever nonsense people are putting themselves through are more like one game focused, right? Whereas this is definitely more broad. It's more like the game that they are focused on is the trophy hunting game more than it is the games that they're playing themselves. And it makes more sense to me, like, from why it would appeal to someone, not me, but why it would appeal to someone when I think about it like that.
I guess that's true. I don't know. It's... So something I would be curious about is what percentage of, like, the speedrunning or crazy playthrough community, like, what percentage of those people are streamers? You know? And not to say that you become it because you want to be a streamer. Like, obviously you have to have an interest in that kind of thing. But, like, there is a marketability to it to a certain audience and a sociability to it to a certain audience. And something about trophy hunting feels like it's not quite well, I mean, maybe it is, but it doesn't click in my head as a performance in the same way.
Maybe the dance pad blindfold, but, like, no damage runs or no death runs. Like anything where you're putting like extreme pressure on yourself in a game is the same impulse as this, except like I said, the game here is the trophy hunting game. That's the game that you're focused on.
Right. Yeah, I guess this just seems less fun to me, which is why I have this reaction to it.
Well, yes, it doesn't seem fun to me either, but I don't think it's particularly helpful to have a side quest where, like, these people are stupid.
Oh, I didn't
Why
mean
are
to
they
say
like
that.
this?
I didn't mean to say that. I was trying to say, I think the reason that I'm having this impulse is because, like, I can understand why practicing for a speed run would be fun to a point, or I could understand why trying to do a no damage run would be fun to a point. Now, I would never go to the point of people who are actually good at that kind of thing, but it's like, I sort of get it on a I'm a baby gamer with baby hands level. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, because I don't, it's harder for me to see what's fun about the trophy hunting game, because the trophy hunting game isn't always, like, it just seems like it's already not very fun when you're, like, playing the game. And if you're just trophy hunting, it's like, oh my god, you've taken the thing about the game that already is often not fun, and you've made that the whole game.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because the way that I was reading a few articles that were talking to, like, big trophy hunters, right? Like, these people that have, like, millions of trophies, basically. And they were talking about how sometimes they pass up big games, right? Like, big games they know are good because, like, the trophy list is just not conducive to them getting more trophies, right? Because they're big or tedious or long, right? Instead, they'll play a lot of short games or games with relatively simple trophy lists, especially people who are focused on getting platinums as opposed to just getting, like, a large number of trophies.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting, right? Because it's like, that really does reinforce that it's like the trophy hunting is the game that they're enjoying here, as opposed to necessarily the games that they're playing themselves.
It's interesting, though, because they do sometimes, and I wonder if this is just to make themselves seem more normal, if this makes sense, or to, like I do this with hobbies sometimes, right? Like, I talk about them in a way to try to make it seem like I'm less of a weirdo than I am. I think that's fine, right? But they do sometimes talk about it as like, oh, you know, trophy hunting has introduced me to a lot of games I wouldn't have played, right? Or a lot of different types of games. But it does feel like if you're one of these, like, wild, high-level people, like, how much are you really enjoying? I mean, like you said, like, maybe you're enjoying the trophy hunting game, but how much are you really enjoying the underlying game if you're just trying to move through it as fast as you can to get the trophies?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's unfair of them to say that it does make them play games that they might not have played otherwise.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't know how much they enjoy it. Sort of impossible to know that, to be honest.
How much could you enjoy doing anything for 90 hours a week?
Yeah, but with stuff like that, it's less trophy hunting, right? Like, there's some interviews where, well, in one of the interviews, there's one guy who said he did it, like, 90 hours a week, and then another guy said, like, 30 hours a week, which was more normal to me. But either way, how do you play games that long? I can't play games for 4 hours straight. I get a headache.
Yeah.
I can't do anything for that long.
Well, and you pointed this out on one of the leaderboards that we were looking at, but that, you know, many of the top players are just, like, platinuming the same game with different regions.
That's at least what it looks like to me, right?
Yeah.
Because they'll have the same game listed, but with different, like, completion times, right? And with the region that game is in, denotated.
Which just, again, it's just hard for me to imagine. In the same way as last week where I was like, not last week, 2 weeks ago, last side quest, where I was like, it's hard for me to imagine, like, going back and replaying games regularly. Oh my gosh. Going back and 100%ing a game multiple times sounds miserable. paging.
They were short games, the ones that I noticed,
mean,
like
fair
on their
enough.
front page, basically.
But paging Ian Bogos, games are work.
Trophy hunting, I do agree, does feel like a form of work in a lot of ways. I mean, for one thing, this guy's doing it 90 hours a week, which is like more than double a normal work schedule. But
I really think that that's what gets me about these things. It's like they're doing it 90 hours a week. And to be a top contender in this space, it's like you have to have been doing that for years and years and years and years.
I mean, if you're like a really big streamer, that is probably equivalent to how much time you spend streaming or doing stuff related to streaming.
I guess that's true. I guess, though, if you're streaming that much, presumably, so like that's like 12 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
A little more than that. 13 hours a day. Ish. 1, that's a lot. 2, if you're streaming 13 hours a day.
I meant working.
Okay,
right.
Sorry. Fair. But, if you're spending at least half of that time streaming and half of it doing your business admin, right? Presumably that's because you're making a good bit of money, right? Like, if you're spending that much time, you'd better be making some money on this, buddy. And I just don't get the sense, and again, I think this is why I feel like I have this like inherent judgment of the big trophy hunters. It's like, these don't seem like people who are making money off of this, which makes it especially baffling to me. It's like, this is work. At least make capitalism work for you.
Yeah. Speaking of which, trophies do provide a job source with guide writers.
That's true.
The existence of trophies does create jobs in our economy.
Well, presumably it creates, like, it's got to be somebody's job on the game team, right? So,
sure, yeah.
Like, one job there, couple of trophy, right? Man, I don't even understand. So, like, I have great respect for guides writers. I don't understand what that process is like at all.
Probably close to the way people try to platinum games, right? Or 100% games.
I guess.
Or it's like that combined with QA.
Yeah. That's what I
And
mean.
you have to do it really fast.
But, like, they have some kind of connections at the company, right? Like, they can write into Nintendo and be like, yo, how do I get this Pokemon?
I feel like that is presuming a lot.
I mean, okay, maybe...
I mean, depends on the company, probably. But no, I do not think most guides writers that are at, like, the lower totem pole of journalism have inside contacts into the industry. No.
But do you think that's always been the case? Like, fine, fair. Like, whoever's doing the...
They do probably get... If their reviewers get codes, they probably also get a code so that they can work on writing guides, would be my guess.
Right. I mean, okay, fair. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm like, thinking about, like, the Pokemon guides we used to have. Like, pre the internet access that we have at our fingertips now. It's like...
Yes.
Surely those people got some inside information.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Those are like official things.
Right. But official things don't really exist anymore. So
no.
I just want to believe that these poor people aren't having to be like, I'm going to do all, like, whoever discovered that you had to, like, turn your DS upside down to evolve that one Pokemon, right? Like, please tell me Nintendo told someone about that.
I think that, I mean, official guides come from the official source, yeah, but they don't do that anymore. But, like, guide writers have to do a lot of work to make these articles, which do bring in probably a lot, like, the most traffic to games websites is because people are Googling, how do I do this? And you have to have the answer ready for them. because official sources don't exist anymore.
I know. I think my question is, because official sources don't exist anymore, is anyone getting any help? Somebody has to be getting help.
I really don't think so. I don't think it's very common.
That sucks, dude.
That's not what this side quest is about.
I know. I'm over here just being like, God, it sucks to be a guide writer. Anyway, yeah, trophy guides, I mean, are all over the place.
Yeah.
Which at a certain point is also like, I don't know. I mean, whatever. I look things up for games. Whatever. It's fine. But it's like, man, the trophy doesn't mean anything. So if you have to look it up too much, what's the point anymore?
I have to look stuff up all the time. Not for trophies, just when I don't know where I'm going.
No, I know. But that's because you have something in the game. I can't get over my, like, trophies don't matter mindset.
I mean, it's a whole community, right? When you're a real trophy hunter, you are part of a community that has competition and collaboration and all this stuff going on. So that's just like, that's your group that you are part of. I really think you just need to be like, it's less about the trophies, right?
I know. It just makes me confront the fact that everything in life is sort of futile and dumb.
What?
You know, trophies are dumb, but playing games is dumb. But doing anything is dumb.
Yeah.
And trophies make me think about that, and I don't like it. I have to
Now, I don't think you should be playing games for 90 hours a week, no matter what you're doing. but that's a separate issue.
The community.
I think that's a separate issue from just platinum hunting.
Which is fair. So how could we make trophies so that people like me thought they were better?
Should bring back mailing physical patches.
That would convince me, to be honest. Tell the story.
Yeah, so every article I was looking at that was like, where did achievements come from? Was like, Activision. F 'em. Activision, a long time ago, like the 80s, used to put, like, achievements in, like, their game guides. You know, those game guides that used to come in the boxes of video games, you know. And if you achieved them, you could take a photo of your screen, I assume with, like, a little wind-up camera or something.
Yeah,
and then you could
really thought about
mail
that, yeah.
mail that photo to Activision, and then they would send you back an actual patch, a physical patch that would
Not
like
a game,
show
like a
proof.
patch, like an iron-on patch, gamers.
Yes, like an iron-on patch, that would prove that you had achieved that goal in that game.
See, that's dope.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just not. That's just something that's not feasible anymore. It'd be way too expensive, right?
They did. Horizon Forbidden West did have an achievement where if you got it, they would plant a tree.
That's a little different.
I know it is. Tax write-off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little different one because, yeah, it's getting around actually trying to go, like, zero carbon footprint. And also, that's still a digital thing, right? They don't have to mail you something, for them to do that. What I meant would be expensive, would be the production of patches and the mailing involved of sending those patches to players.
Jobs.
I also wonder if there would be more, like, of a privacy concern there now, too.
What do you mean?
Since those, well, like, just of having lots of addresses of your players.
I mean, so you'd have to opt in.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You put your mailing address into things all the time. I guess, like, I don't know. It feels like you could run it through how it's a platform that's as secure as anything that you purchase with a credit card online. I hear you though. I don't think it'd be illegal. I just think that there might be more hoops that a company would have to jump through to create this than in the 80s. But what a great project for an intern.
No, don't make your intern do it. Maybe that's how Nintendo will get into achievements.
Yeah.
Limited time only. 1 month. And then the game is no longer on sale and you can't get the patches for it anymore.
That's what that's why Breath of the Wild 2 is delayed. They're working on the patches.
That's probably it, yeah.
No, I do wish, well, I don't know, when we're all in Web 3.0, maybe we will want to display our cool game achievements.
Yes. Nothing I want more than to go into the metaverse and have the number of trophies I've earned hovering above my head.
No, I wouldn't want that, but I would want the cool trophies,
No.
Look at me, I found all the fish. I wouldn't brag about that. That wouldn't be the one. Well, any other thoughts about achievements and trophies? What achievement do you wish you could get?
I don't know.
Feels like you should get
I think there's one article that mentioned an achievement in where the water tastes like wine that is literally impossible to get because it's about how the American dream is impossible. And I thought that was really funny.
Write me a paper about how platinum hunting and the American dream are synonymous.
I should have bought all the Nier Automata achievements, but I didn't. But once you do once you do it 3 times, you unlock chapter select, and also the woman at the resistance camp will sell you achievements just for in-game currency. You can just buy them, so you don't have to do them all. It's also the Go Outside trophy in Stanley Parable, which a lot of people cheated on, but theoretically you're supposed to wait 5 years without opening the game, and then open the game again, and then you get the Go Outside achievement.
Allowing gamers to adjust their system clocks was a mistake.
I think that's true, yeah.
Should take that power away.
Why did they let you change the year anyway?
I don't know.
It must have something to do with having to be able to set it in the first place, I guess. But it seems weird. Why can't you change the year on your system?
I don't know. Especially given that, doesn't your system clock have to line up correctly to, be online? Isn't that a whole thing? It's an issue with PS3s, right? If your system clock is screwed up, you can't be online. I'm making that up. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't really... I guess, maybe if you were setting up your PlayStation, on New Year's Eve, and you, accidentally put it in the wrong year. Oh, I'm dumb. Or maybe it's just a relic of, Y2K.
Maybe. I don't know.
I have to research. Wow, I can't believe I've been system clocks were a mistake, platinum trophies were a mistake, gamers were a mistake. What else can I be no more of this episode?
Now, I know the question on everyone's minds is, will Emma platinum Cold Steel 4?
The people want to know.
And the answer is no.
Why not? You don't want to find all the fish?
The issue... Okay, no. The fish is not the issue. I am pretty good about the fish, if I'm being honest with myself. The issue is there's a separate trophy for every single, end bonding event with, your party members. So it's literally impossible to do it in a single playthrough, I'm pretty sure. Unless you're, really meticulously planning for it, I guess.
Right. Why would you play through twice?
I do not think the Cold Steel games are conducive to platinum hunters. That's my official review of the series.
1 star. Bronze. Well, listeners, unless you have any closing thoughts, Emma.
No.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Talk This.
Dangerous to podcast alone.
You've gotten the gold trophy now for getting it this far. You've got to listen to the end to get the platinum. If you enjoyed the show, if you got thoughts on the show, what was the hardest trophy that you ever achieved? Have you ever platinumed a game? Did you stop listening when you heard that I have less than 1,000 trophies and like you lost all respect for me?
Don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, you still had respect for me? Yikes. Anyway, you should follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Talk This Podcast. You can also visit our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can read all about the show, check out the games in the hat, and read our blog, featuring long-running series Good Boyfriend and Split Screen. Finally, if you enjoy the show, why don't you subscribe? We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts, online and on the app, Overcast, Pocket Casts, anywhere you can find podcasts, you'll find Talk This. Probably only a matter of time until there are like achievements that are like spent $20 in game, spent $50 in game.
There's
right?
gotta be rules against that, you'd think.
Feels like you could figure out a way to get around it, but yeah.
Certainly on like mobile platforms. Google and Apple also have achievements, by the way.
Of course.
It's just Nintendo. I feel like I should stress that.
Only Nintendo. Does Stadia have achievements?
Does it matter?
Next week, listeners, I know our new game is... Oh, wait, it's American McGee's Alice.
Yeah.
And 12 minutes.
Yes.
I think American McGee's Alice is available on PlayStation 3, but I will instead of trying to subject myself to buying a game on the PlayStation 3, I will subject myself to watching a playthrough of 12 minutes.
Equally painful.
Probably.
Yeah.
So look forward to that next week. And in 2 weeks, look forward to our side quest about what we've been playing the past 6 weeks. I can't believe we're getting up to another one of those already, where I will tell you about how I have lost all of my save data.
Yeah, Madelyn can tell you about how she broke her PS4.
We'll talk about PlayStation 4 error messages and the lies of PS Plus auto upload backup.
Yeah. Look forward
and
to it.
Also, games.
That might take up the whole running time. Hard to know.
It'll just be me walking through every single step I took.
I'm expecting it. I want an epic with, like, Foley and stuff.
I'll be ready.
Beep.
That's the
Well,
sound
do you
of
want
the
to sign us off?
PlayStation.
Do you want to sign us off?
Yes. Listeners, I hope that this week you get the Palladium trophy of your life.